So you've been putting in a ton of work. You've been going out, you've been approaching women, going out on dates, you've been improving yourself, which is great. Maybe even know a couple guys who actually are good with women. And maybe what you're doing is working, kind of, but it just seems to work better for the other guys. There's some kind of gap between what you're doing and who you are and what you're getting and what these other guys are getting. And you can't seem to figure out where that is. I know your pain. I know what that gap is. And I only know it from experience. It is not your looks. It is not how much money you make. It is not how tall you are. It's not even your confidence and how well you approach. It is something that most dating advice has never touched. And I'm going to talk about that with you today. Think about what a woman actually feels when she's attracted to someone. She is not tallying up a score on a balance sheet. She is not running through a checklist. She is falling in love. She may not fully know how or why, but she gets that feeling like she needs to know where it's going to take her. That pull, that desire to move forward with you is what attraction actually is. And most men have no idea how to create it. Most men, including myself for many years, think that attraction works like a combination lock. If you get enough points or you do the right behaviors or say the right things in the right order, it will unlock. So you do nice things and maybe you buy her drinks or, go out on a nice date. Maybe you be friends with her first and, get her to see you for the nice guy that you are. Or maybe you decide to bring a lot of other friends into your life to show how popular you are. You work on your confidence. You work on your looks. Maybe you develop an interesting lifestyle or hobby. And that through these things, somehow attraction is supposed to unlock. But a good guy with a story is just a good guy. A rich guy with a story is just a rich guy. And a high status guy with no story is just a popular guy with a lot of friends. These things can get attention. They can create curiosity. And they can even make a woman interested enough to give him some attention and look in his direction. But they do not automatically create attraction. And this is what so many men are getting wrong. They are building a resume. They are collecting traits. They are becoming more impressive, but they're not actually creating anything that she can step into. They're not creating romance or passion or tension. They're not creating a world that the two of them can share and experience. A man can technically have everything right, a good job, a good body, a good personality, and maybe even a genuinely good character. But it still feels flat to her. Not because there's something wrong with him, but because there's nothing actually happening. I used to think that attraction was like a checklist, and you just go off and you check things up. You're going to get some things in the positive column, you're going to get some things in the negative column, and on aggregate, you should have more in the positive than in the negative. And it's not entirely wrong, but it doesn't tell you the whole picture. Attraction is more like a force. It's like gravity, okay? When a woman is attracted to you, she feels pulled towards you. She feels compelled by you. She feels drawn to you. She feels like there is an experience unfolding between the two of you, and she wants to find out what happens next. This is where the entire phrase falling in love comes from. She is falling, like with gravity. This is not balancing the pros and cons list, okay? She is falling into a story. And the more compelling that story is, the stronger the gravity becomes. So a story has momentum. It has tension. It has romance. It has mystery and anticipation. It has action, rising and falling action, and the feeling that something is happening. Now, here's what that looks like in practice. Two men, same bar, same woman. The first asks where she's from, what does she do for a living, what does she like, and he gets polite, forgettable answers. The second makes a playful observation about her. He holds her gaze. He teases her a little. And suddenly, she's leaning forward. It's the same woman, completely different experience. But the second man is not more impressive. It's just that he is creating something. That is the difference. Your job is not to impress her. Your job is to create a story with her, one that has direction and meaning and has a feeling that something is unfolding that she wants to keep experiencing. So what is this story in practice? A good interaction should never feel like a job interview. A lot of men go into interactions with women thinking it's their job to get information. So they ask questions like, where are you from? What do you do? What do you like? None of these questions are inherently wrong. But if the interaction is just an exchange of facts, it's not romantic. It just feels like two people filling out each other's get-to-know-you forms. So a good interaction should feel like the beginning of a romance. There should be eye contact. There should be tension. There should be a sense that something is created between the two of you that did not exist before you sat together. The man is not just checking off whether she qualifies. He's creating a feeling. He's leading her into an experience. That same principle applies to texting or messaging. Your words should feel like they're adding something to the narrative that's already built between the two of you, and it's not just managing logistics. If the last time you saw her, you had an emotional feel to it, then your messages should carry that feeling. Whether you've known her for 3 hours or 3 years, the story continues or it dies. A weekly date, the way you touch her when you walk past her in the kitchen, the private jokes, the places you go, the adventures you have, these are all chapters in the story. It should be noted, though, that routine is not the enemy. Dead routine is the enemy. The question is not whether you've built a life together. The question is whether that life feels alive inside of what you've built. So the attraction is not just built through events, but through moments. There is a difference. An event is just something that happened. A moment is something that felt a certain way. So, for instance, when the conversation slows down, instead of rushing to fill the silence, you let it sit. You look at her. You let her feel like you want to kiss her, but you don't kiss her yet. That's the tension. That's the moment. Or maybe you're walking with her. You lightly run your fingers down her arm and take her hand. This is not random and it's not nervous, but it's a natural extension of the emotional momentum that is already built between you. That is a moment. Or maybe she tells you something, maybe something she never said out loud before to anyone else. Instead of filling the space with advice or a story of your own, you just look at her and understand it completely and mean it. And she will feel it. Because she probably didn't necessarily expect to feel understood when she said that thing. That is a moment. Moments are what she remembers. Moments are what she talks about with her friends. Moments are what makes a man feel different for every other man who had all the right credentials and left no impression. You create moments by slowing down, paying attention, and letting things be experienced instead of rushing past them. Now, a story is not something that you perform with a woman. It's not just a series of actions and words. It is something you build with the woman in front of you. So you have to pay attention to what she actually responds to. So does she respond to playfulness or mystery or being teased or praised or maybe emotional depth? A lot of men want a universal rule book. Things like, touch her here or say this or hold eye contact this long. But there's no universal to any of those questions. The answer is always found in her response. Is she leaning in or pulling back? Is she becoming more open, more engaged, more emotionally involved? Or is she giving you signals that she doesn't want this? If she doesn't like it, stop. If she likes it, do more. This is how you build a story with the actual woman in front of you instead of acting like something that has nothing to do with her that you probably saw online and was like, oh, that'll work. I'll try that. So I spent years studying dating and attraction, and almost everything I learned was about behavior. I learned what to say, what to do, how to act, what timing should I use with this. This coach said this, that coach said that. And over time, it just kind of became a bowl of spaghetti. Mismatched tactics, conflicting advice, and none of it fitting together into something that felt real or natural. Then I met men who were absolutely extraordinary with women. And I spent time watching them. And I realized something. These men were not running tactics, even if they said they were. They were not following traditional advice, even if that's what they studied. They knew something that none of the coaches were actually able to teach. They knew how to create an experience with a woman. They knew how to take her on a journey, a love story of sorts. And this is when I understood what had been missing the entire time. It was not a matter of just tactics and behaviors. It was a story worth experiencing. It's the kind of story that you are built to tell. And it's not random. It comes from your values. If you don't understand your own values, you will keep borrowing other men's stories. You will try to act dominant when your real strength is depth. You will try to be mysterious when your real strength is playfulness. And you will try to be smooth when your real strength is directness. It will keep falling short because you're performing a version of yourself that doesn't actually exist. You are being fake. This is why I built my VSN system. This is what it solves. Your values are the things that genuinely matter to you. Your story is your life. It's your character. It's the identity that you've built around your values. And your narrative is how she experiences that story. It's through your words, through your behavior, your presence. Understanding all three of these things will take you from running tactics to telling a story that is actually yours. You cannot invite a woman into a story if you don't understand yourself first. Here's the key. A compelling story is not all positive emotion. A lot of men think attraction is making a woman feel good all the time, but that's not how stories work. Stories made entirely of comfort and predictability and ease is boring. You would never watch that movie. There has to be contrast. There has to be tension. There's got to be a level of uncertainty or longing or challenge and even some light frustration. By the way, this is why teasing and negging actually works. Not because you're trying to put her down, but because you're trying to create a loop. A little tension, then a little resolution, a little challenge, and then a little warmth. Create a little friction, and then some connection. That loop creates dynamic emotions, and it makes the relationship feel alive. I like to think of it like a heart rate monitor at a hospital. Your heart's only working. You're only alive if it's going up and down, right? As soon as it flatlines, it's dead. Your relationship is the same way. Women want to be in an adventure. Adventure does not mean skydiving or flying her somewhere. Adventure means not knowing every detail before it happens. She needs to know enough to feel safe. She needs to know the general destination, but she doesn't need to know the journey that it will take. Women want to be swept off their feet and taken along for a love story. Maybe she knows where you're taking her out if you're going out on a date, but not necessarily exactly where. Maybe you swing by, you pick her up, and you take her somewhere. Maybe she knows that you want her, but not exactly when you're going to act on it. This creates curiosity, and curiosity creates attraction. By the way, this is why inaction is actually one of the best actions, because she thinks you're the guy who wants her but doesn't act on her, and it makes her curious. It makes her want you more. It creates that draw. It adds to that gravity that pulls her in. Now she's not just evaluating you from a distance. She is inside the story. There is a difference between a man who has impressive traits and one who creates his own gravity. The man with traits says, here's why I'm valuable. Are you impressed yet? The man with gravity makes her feel like she needs to know what's happening next. She needs to know what kind of guy she is. So stop thinking of attraction like a checklist. Stop thinking of yourself like a resume, and stop trying to unlock women with the right combination of money, looks, and status. These things can support the story. They can give it a baseline, but they are not the story itself. The story is emotional. It is a journey that she feels with you. It is the way you look at her. It's the way that you lead, the way that you create tension and let moments breathe. It's the way you make her feel like something is happening that is different from normal life. Start thinking like a man who is creating a story with her, because when the story is compelling enough, she does not need to be convinced. She feels the gravity, and she falls into it. So if you want to get clear on your values, story, or narrative, the VSN self-assessment is a great place to start. You get it for free when you sign up for the Men's Lab newsletter. There's a link in the description. My name is Ethan. I started the Men's Lab to help guys like you get real results in your dating lives through alignment. If you like this video, by all means, hit the like button. It helps enormously. And hit the subscribe button if you want more. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.